Hello, hello, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of What We Said with us, your hosts. And we've been here on these mics for 7 years to the day, you guys. Can you believe that?
Very serendipitous.
I actually just freaked out when I said seven.
7 days. 7 years.
It took us 7 nights, 7 days to create this podcast.
Is so long. It really is. We're dinosaurs in this industry, truly. Mm-hmm. We started our podcast in a time when, I don't know, it just, people were like, why a podcast? Like I remember I didn't know that many people who listened to podcasts at the time. And we didn't really know what we were doing at all, but it's just it's honestly so cool to see how far the podcast industry has come.
The podcast industry owes us because a lot of the times I've heard people say that we introduced them to podcasts.
In general?
Mm-hmm. Like I started with yours. I didn't know what podcasts were because we are just the influencers of all influencers.
So true. There are a few podcasts that I can think of that have been like, I'll hear them be like, we've been doing this for 9 years or something. But truly, it doesn't go much further than that.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're celebrating our 7-year anniversary
today.
And we always have to do, this episode once a year and reflect on all things podcast, all things what we said. We came prepared, so we're not just rambling today about a bunch of memories of 7 different things that we're going to talk to you guys about.
And we're not going to be crying this whole time. They're a little more fun and lighthearted because we really did not want to just sit here and be like, we love you guys. We've already done that enough.
I think we've done that every year.
They get the picture.
Yeah, they get the picture at this point. It's so crazy. Should we tell what we're gonna talk about, like all 7 now, or should we leave it as a surprise?
Let's do a little trailer, a little preview.
Okay, a trailer. Bear with me as I find it. Okay, we're gonna go over 7 things. Something that we've each learned about ourselves through the podcast. We're going to also give you guys some juice in this episode. We're gonna tell you about a time that we have cut something out of the podcast that we decided we didn't want to be public information. We're going to talk about a listener story we'll never forget, a subject that we beat to death, aka basically each of our Roman empires. It's really hard to pick one. Mm-hmm. An inside joke that only our real ones will get, a question from listeners that we've never answered until now, and then a dream we have for the next 7 years.
I'm nervous as you said that. I'm feeling nervous.
I'm excited to hear all of your answers.
I know, same. I feel like we might have the same ones.
Probably.
I tried to go a little more out there, but some of them it's just like
it is what it is.
You can't ignore the iconic ones.
I know.
Should we just get in?
Yeah, should we just begin?
Yeah.
Because I don't have much. Who cares? I don't have many life updates to talk about. So, okay, something that we've learned about ourselves through doing this podcast. Why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, I tried not to be cliche, but it really is just, it comes down to how I feel about myself. I recently saw Paige Lorenz do this trend on Reels, yes. So maybe it was a long time ago this trend existed on TikTok. But she did, actually, I think it was on TikTok because I will download TikTok every once in a while and like try and get the tea. So I don't remember which one, but basically she would put the same photo on top and bottom. Did you see that one? Mm-hmm. It was like life when you're being talked about badly, life when you're being talked about good, and it's the same photo. And then she did that with a bunch of different things like life when people aren't understanding you, life when people understand you. And it's the same photo of like them or just a happy scene.
A same situation, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of signifying life doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what people, like how these things externally
are being perceived.
Yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to affect you. And that is the number one thing I've learned about myself through the podcast is when you're forward facing and when you are putting out so much of your thoughts, your emotions, your opinions, you're basically putting things out there saying, I like this, I think this, I'm trying, then you get naturally responses from people. Mm-hmm. You're opening up discussion, and one of those things to discuss is you. And so I feel like, earlier on, it was really hard to separate myself from the perception people have of me. Mm-hmm. And I really don't give a rip anymore. I'm just like, what they perceive of me, whether it's bad or good, truly does not affect my life. My life is the same day to day, whether they understand me, whether I think that they took what I said out of context or whatever. It does not affect who I truly am. And like, because I know who I am, and I'm always learning who I am, but just like as, time goes on, I just feel more comfortable with myself. It just does not matter.
Totally.
Like just these little things that people might think about me, or, whether they think I'm smart or dumb, or whether they think I'm whatever they think about me. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
That does not actually matter at all, or
it will
affect
have
me.
no effect on your life if you don't let it, truly. Mine is very similar. I was going to say, I think like throughout having this job, specifically a podcast, is such an insight into who you really are. Even though no one will truly know exactly who you are giving so much. Like every week to be, at this point, 6 times a month, to be talking for a full hour just candidly about thoughts, things we're up to, things we like, things we don't like, hot takes that we have, whatever. And with so many life phases that we're going through, it is just, I feel like having a podcast can be a very introspective thing. Like you really are on display, even for yourself, like to go back and to be able to have this digital footprint and see what you thought at that time and exactly your take on something and what you said. And I think what I've learned throughout just this whole process is, number one, how self-critical I have been and how I'm trying to really break that. Just, I would hear me talking and be like, immediately humbled. I'm like, oh my gosh, I say that word way too much. I just went in circles right there. Like I rambled way too long, get to the point about this, and this. And I think over time, I've just learned to be like gentler on myself, and kind of that same concept of like, I don't really care. I'm just talking, and it doesn't really matter what the perception is of that. And if people do think I'm rambling or whatever. But I also think that something that I've learned is how to take criticism a lot better. I think I was really, really bad at that like 5 to 10 years ago. I've always been more of a just kind of, I get on the defense. Like I still do that, and I am aware of that. But like, I think throughout having this podcast, I've actually grown to appreciate criticism a little bit, okay? Where I'm like, oh, I can understand, like if someone does have a critique, and I can kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, oh, that would be annoying to listen to A, B, and C. Like I'm not immediately on the defense. I can kind of understand where they're coming from. And I think that's a gift that this job has given me. Like I truly don't know if I would be so comfortable with criticism and with people misinterpreting and misunderstanding me if I hadn't had this job for so long.
Yeah.
Like I truly believe it has made me a more confident person at this point, which is interesting. I saw Hallie and Jazz, I saw a podcast clip of theirs, and they were saying, do you think becoming an influencer has made you more or less confident? And they were both like, less confident immediately. Or like, has it been a hit to your confidence? And I was just thinking like 100% doing this job has taken like, a hit to my confidence. But that was in the earlier stages. And I feel like I've now, and they're also newer influencers. Like they've been doing it for a few years. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking like, that's kind of the progression, is like, it hits your confidence, and it's so jarring to get so much like criticism and critiques over things that you think are normal. But then you kind of like turn this corner where you grow this like thicker skin, and you're just like, it really doesn't matter that much. Like it is just a perception thing, and like criticism is valid and it's fine, and it's like not that deep, and it's an amazing feeling to like, and I'm not 100% there. Like it depends on my mood.
Depends on the time of the month.
It depends for sure. Like there are times when things, might bother me a little bit more than others, but overall to just feel like yourself, and your intentions, and you're the person that you go to bed with every night. It's like, as long as I go to bed and I know like I have had good intentions, and like I'm doing my best, and I try my best to be all of these things, then that's it. There needs to be no further discussion. Like I don't need to beat myself up about that. And the self-critiquing is so exhausting. That's where I got to, where it's like, I'm piling on, like I'm making this so much worse for myself. I could just be way nicer to myself, and things would be a lot smoother. So
Mama's tired.
Mama's tired.
Yeah.
Mom is tired. So I feel the same way. I think it's actually like it's a unique experience, and it can be, you can use it to your benefit. Like you can use all of those things that maybe would be considered negative to become like a stronger, more resilient person, I think.
I think it's part of the progression. I think it's just a natural thing I think you have to go through with any job, but specifically this one when it's so about who you are and whether people like you or not. Like that's genuinely in the job description. So because I feel the same. I started out and I was like, oh, who cares if people think about me? And then it got rocky where it's like, oh my gosh, like what do people think about me? I care so much. Like how do I make them understand me more? Like they're misunderstanding me. How do I make them understand me more? And now I feel the same. I just don't care if people understand me or not, because I think Natalie Portman has a quote where she's like, I hate when people say, I know exactly how you feel. She's like, nobody will ever know exactly how you feel. And once you understand that, it's so freeing. Like you don't need anyone to understand exactly how you feel.
No one ever will.
Because that will be just a never ending, unsatisfying journey.
Cycle.
Yeah. To try and get people to understand you. And I think sometimes I have almost made myself not quieter. I hid my shine because I'm just like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm mean or like my humor. I don't want them to misunderstand my humor. And as I've gotten older, I'm just like, I know I'm a nice person and I try my best. Obviously, I'm not a perfect person, but I'm just going to say what I want to say. And the more I am actually confident in saying it, the better it comes across. And if people misunderstand me, they don't get me. And that's fine. They can move on. And I truly never felt that way until very recently.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, I don't care if you like me. We don't have to be friends. You don't have to like me.
Yeah.
Which it's like, that's actually hard to internalize and actually
and believe
grip.
it and truly believe it. I feel like I've tried to believe it for a long time. And I'm not exaggerating when I say when I turned 30,
yes,
I feel like my brain chemistry was altered. Where I'm just like, I'm 30.
Yeah.
Like, which is why I'm going to tell a story later that I haven't told. It's not even that big of a deal, but like, it's just because I don't care at all, the perception of it. I don't care if people judge me for it because it's just like, it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Yes.
Whereas even 6 months ago, it mattered more to me. Like, I was like, oh, I don't want to say this or that. And now I'm just like, well, I don't give a rip.
No, I
couldn't
know.
care less. Like, and not in a mean way, just like, I don't frankly, I don't care. I don't care.
No, and I don't have time. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to waste any time trying to worry about how other people are perceiving me or understanding me or like thinking about me when I just have so many other things to do
For
that
sure.
are much more important than that.
That's how I felt about the self-critiquing thing. I'm like, I don't have time on my
For
schedule
what?
to do this. I
Yeah.
don't have time to like watch the podcast back and nitpick everything I say. Like, I quite literally don't have it in the schedule anymore.
Yes.
So you just kind of have to let go of stuff. I think that's really, I think that's been a really good part of just doing this.
And it actually does, the last thing I'll say about it is it helps you take criticism better because it's not so
It's
going
not as
against your
deep.
ego.
It's not as
like,
deep.
well, but you don't understand that I'm trying to do this is when people are saying something, it's like, oh, okay, I could see how that happens. Let me pivot. And that took me 5 seconds and no emotional energy versus when you like internalize it, you're in this just black hole of, but what about your ego
vortex
is so just in the mix.
So in it. Yeah. That's been a really
So
good,
nice.
refreshing part of life recently, I think. Okay, number 2 is a time that we cut something out.
You go first.
So now I'm going back to my word because I just told you I'm so confident. I don't care at all what anyone says. I did cut, this is recent, that's why I'm bringing it up. I did cut a big section of me absolutely ripping into Zach from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives from last episode
Annihilating
or
him.
2 episodes ago. Just because I felt bad. I don't know. I felt like I just went a little too hard on them and their marriage, and like I just kind of felt like, I don't really want that in the podcast.
Yeah.
It just felt like it's really hard with, which we've kind of been talking about with this specific show, is that like
It's so
when
human.
it's so human, and when you kind of know all of them a little bit, like you actually have closer connections to them. And I mean, like you know, a lot of them I'm like mutuals with on social media. So it's like we follow each other or we've met at an event or whatever. it is a lot harder to rip into someone who they are very human to you because you've met them or whatever the case may be. And I just felt like it was a little too close to home. I felt like I went a little too hard. And I also just feel like because she's pregnant and it's like their marriage, I was like, I didn't like that part. I should, maybe have whatever, dialed it back. So I just cut it out.
Yeah.
But honestly, we do not cut that much out from the podcast.
No,
That's what I
I
was going
was
to say.
racking my brain.
It is so rare. Like, I very, very rarely have edits to the podcast. I know a lot of people like go through and micromanage, like, oh, take out when I said that. They listen to every word back. Like, we really do not do that.
No.
And we very rarely cut out a section.
Yeah.
So that was top of mind because it just happened. And I couldn't even think of another one recently.
No, I was racking my brain because I feel as though I should cut more out. I feel like I tend to... If I do cut something out, it's a pointless ramble that's not juicy. It's just like, there was no need for that to come out of my mouth. Those details were so unimportant, so uninspiring, so unentertaining. There was no point. It's a waste of your guys' time.
Yeah, it's like the episode was already getting long and one of us
Yes.
feels like we rambled where like that part was just like pointless. Like there was nothing that came out of it. So.
I was looking at some of the edits from like the past year and I'm just like, these are all boring. Like a lot of the times from my side, I saw one that was like about parenting. It's just like I'm doing the classic parent thing where I'm like, look at this picture of my kid. Like they did this. And I'm just, there's no need. And also
like
sometimes
a story that you cut out that was about
like they like this and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, first of all, if it's not serving any purpose and it's just talking about my kid, I don't want to put it on the internet in this public forum anyways. And sometimes I forget we are recording. So I'm just talking to my friend, telling her a funny story about my kid. And I'm like, okay, wait, cut that.
Yeah.
I could not find anything that was juicy that we cut out because this question was to show you guys we are so authentic and real.
We are so authentic. Yeah, we really don't cut stuff, but that was the most recent one. It was funny that we answered this question because I'm like, well, I did cut something last week for the first time in a very long time.
No, we really don't ever have edits, honestly.
No. Yeah, there's very rarely. That's
or
funny.
sometimes we'll slip up and say something where I'm like, thank goodness this isn't live. Where it's just like it comes across wrong. Kind of like the corn nuts thing, but we kept it in. Where it's just like we say something that's like inappropriate or bad and just we're like, wait.
Or if we
Thank
say
goodness.
someone's, most of the time someone's full name.
Yeah.
It's like,
Address. Place of work.
Yeah, just like you're talking about our hometown and she'll say their first and last name. It's like, we probably shouldn't out them like that on this podcast. Things like that. Things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up, we have a listener story we will never forget. You know what mine's going to be. I'm assuming we have the same one. Well, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Mine is forever and always just burned in my brain. The switched up birth babies.
Yes.
That is like what always comes to my mind. And that was years ago. I don't think we were recording
That was
video, were we?
2021, I think.
So we weren't recording video of the podcast or anything, which I would love to have seen our reactions to that on video. It actually is so weird to me that we didn't used to record video for literally like 6 of the years or 5 of the years.
Yeah. So crazy.
I wish I could see our faces talking and stuff.
Yeah.
But basically there
And
was
the
a
moment we
story.
realized.
Was that your same one?
I had 2, but that was the first one because I thought for sure you would have that as well.
What like listener write-in prompt was that for? Like craziest
Family stories, maybe? I have
family
no
stories? Well, basically, this girl wrote in. Do you remember the details of the story?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you give us a breakdown if you have not been here for a long time?
She basically said she was in the hospital. She gave birth. They really wanted a girl. I can't remember which gender it was, but they really wanted a girl. But then they had the baby and it was a boy. And then it came back, like they sent it off to go do something at the hospital. It came back in their room and she noticed it was a boy instead. Like she had a girl and she was like, dang, I had a girl. And then she noticed the baby that came back was a boy.
And that's what she wanted.
And that's what her and her husband wanted. So they just took it home. She's like, I always wondered. And I remember the last of the story was like, I've always wondered like where my little girl is. And that's when we were like, there is literally no way this is a true story.
There's no possible way.
Let your baby go.
So then we like read it on the podcast and we were screaming. And we're like, there is no possibility this is real, right? Like, absolutely not. And then the girl wrote to our email and was like, yeah, it wasn't real. Like, I hope you guys were entertained. And we're like, you got us there, but you're sick and twisted. Mm-hmm. And then that had me just in this whole conspiracy rabbit hole, wondering how many of these stories that were getting written in were fake.
Yeah, or embellished.
Yeah. I mean, not that I really care, honestly. It's entertainment, whatever. But it really did get me thinking. And then when we started to get like crazy ones kind of on that verge, I'm like, there is no way this is real.
Yeah. No, that was insane.
That was absolutely insane.
The other one that I just think is so funny is the invisible ink. That was the shortest little submission. And I can't even remember what he said.
It was an accidental text.
Boyfriend was meant to send her a text sent in with invisible ink, but accidentally sent it to his mom with invisible ink, and it was like
it was a sexual thing.
Suck my dick or something. Yeah. In invisible ink, and sent it to his mom. And that has stuck with me. And now I think invisible ink is so funny.
Same.
Like,
we will like occasionally send an invisible ink text, and it is
for the reveal of it is hilarious.
It is so funny. Yeah, what was it that's gonna kill me that he said to her?
It was so vulgar.
It was like intense. We need to go back and find it.
Oh, it was something about cum.
Like wasn't on your face or something.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah, something like that. Like I want to something on your face or something. And your mom opening that invisible text from you, her son.
We can only hope she doesn't know how to use invisible ink. She's like, what is this?
So funny.
That is actually, thank you for reminding me of that. That was hilarious.
I just heard that FX has a new original comedy coming out called Adults. After watching the trailer, you guys, it looks so good. I am so excited to sit down with some popcorn and watch the show and feel seen. It feels too familiar. It's hitting close to home. Adults is a comedy that will feel very relatable to you as well if you are also an adult in 2025 and you find humor in the struggles of the everyday life of being an adult. You know, like remembering your full social security number, remembering the bare minimum to take care of yourself, drink water, eat all of your meals every day, maybe having an existential crisis, dealing with these things and thinking, oh, I'm an adult, so I should really be able to know how to do this. And sometimes you just don't, and you have to navigate it for the first time. There's no manual to being an adult. You think adulthood will just be downloaded into your brain immediately and you'll, be perfectly responsible and have it all figured out, and you just don't. And sometimes, honestly, it can be very funny, and it's always funnier with friends. So this show is going to be the perfect show for our generation. I really feel like it was completely needed for all of us to be able to watch, laugh, and relate. So the best part is that all episodes will be ready for your next weekend binge. You can watch FX's Adults Wednesdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu. Definitely go check it out. Get your friends together. You guys can all watch together and go check it out.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Men today face immense pressure. Obviously, men's mental health has been a discussion, and it should be a discussion because there's a lot to it. It's no wonder that 6 million men in the US suffer from depression every year, and it's often undiagnosed. Men need to know it's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so that you can be your best self for everyone, including yourself in your life. If you're a man and you're feeling the weight of the world, talk to someone, a friend, a loved one, a therapist. This is so important. Even if you know the men in your life, make sure that you're letting them open up and talk to you without, making them feel bad or feel weak or anything like that about their feelings.
I feel like it's so common for men to grow up not talking about their feelings, whereas I feel like, a lot of times with my girls, we can just vent about stuff and it's like comes very natural because maybe we've been doing that more our whole lives. But I feel like a lot of men are not used to opening up as much just because of societal pressures and things like that. Therapy can be so great for learning positive coping skills, learning how to set boundaries, just empowering you to be the best version of yourself. And it's not necessarily just for those who have experienced major trauma. I feel like that can be a misconception about therapy is that like you have had to gone through something super traumatic in your life to need therapy, but many people can benefit from just talking to someone reliable who's licensed to help you through different issues that you're facing. So with BetterHelp, they have over 35,000 therapists, and they're the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an app store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's also very convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your very busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, which I feel like is very, very important to find someone that you really trust and connect with. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/whatwesaid. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/whatwesaid. This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. We love Squarespace at the What We Said podcast. We've used this for quite literally every business venture we've ever started. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all on your terms. I have sold both physical and digital products through Squarespace. It's super easy to sell something physical and like get all the shipping and everything figured out. It's just like very user friendly. And to sell digital products is also super easy. I have sold my photo presets and little like ebooks and courses and things like that via my Squarespace website for years. And I've always had such a positive experience. They now also have Design Intelligence, which is combining 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. It empowers everyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to your specific needs for your business, and you can create a digital identity to use across your entire online presence. I love that Squarespace is so just user-friendly, and things like this and features like this Design Intelligence make it even easier so that you don't have to know all the behind the scenes and the nitty-gritty of coding or any of those types of things. You can still create such a beautiful, user-friendly website with minimal knowledge.
Squarespace Payments is the easiest way to manage your payments in one place with Squarespace. So onboarding is really fast and simple. You can get started in just a couple clicks and start receiving payments right away. Plus, that gives your customers more ways to pay with popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, ClearPay. It makes it so nice that you don't have to worry about all of that stuff. And it's easier for you to get paid, for your customers to pay, and just makes the whole thing so much more seamless. So you can head to squarespace.com/whatwesaid to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Again, that is squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, squarespace.com/whatwesaid to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Go check it out.
Okay, a subject that we beat to death, or basically our Roman Empire. This one is extremely hard to pick because there are truly so many things that I beat to death. Like, something that is different about men and women, and this is why you need solid female friendships in your life, is that females can beat a subject to death 500 times and find a new angle every single time. Somehow,
Yes.
Something has shifted slightly. Your perspective, someone
A new
else, a
detail.
new detail has arrived. There's somehow just always more that you can say. Whereas I'll notice even with Leif, like I'll start to try and do that with him, and he'll be like, "We already talked about this," and I'm like, "And?" Like, I'm coming from a slightly different angle this time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Oh, okay." Like, he'll indulge, but it's not the same as with your girls.
No, Nick has started to set boundaries for him, for his mental health. I'll be like, and he will literally be like, if you need to talk about this, I'm here to listen, but I don't really want to indulge in this conversation another time. So like, if you want to vent, I'm here to listen. And I'm like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I will stop ruminating. Okay?
Exactly. They won't ruminate or gossip as
Yes.
much, unfortunately. So it is fun to be able to talk about the exact same thing over and over with my girls. I think I have a lot. I truly was like, which one do I pick?
No, same.
I think one of my subjects that I beat to death or my Roman Empire is that I deleted Instagram for 6 months. That somehow comes up in conversation like twice a month. Like on at least once a month on this podcast, it's like, yeah, well, when I deleted Instagram, I felt this way.
Oh, I talk about deleting TikTok every episode.
It really is just like, yes, I am better than you because I deleted Instagram for 6 months. Like, yes, I have insane self-control. Yes. That's why I bring it up, because
you need to
I'm
remember.
very powerful for doing that. No, but it really is just, unfortunately, it is a significant, that was a significant time in my life. Not necessarily just the deleting Instagram of it all, but I felt like that was when my life kind of like transformed a little bit. I went from being in this rut to that 6 months was like a very transformative time. So I kind of associate it with I deleted Instagram and then life got a lot better. So yeah, that's why I talk about it a lot, but it really does come up so often. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, how am I here again? Like I'll be talking about it. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, I have said this exact sentiment probably 10 times on the podcast already.
Maybe not from that angle. So.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's one of mine.
New details arise. Well, mine recently has been the deleting TikTok thing. So I am latching onto that answer as well. But we have different ones at different periods. Because for a while, I feel like my Roman Empire was really like when we were both pregnant and stuff. It's like baby names. Like I was just thinking about baby names nonstop. But I don't really think about it anymore. I'm just like, whatever. Every once in a while I will, but it's not like on my algorithm or anything like that. So I don't really think about that anymore. I feel like the main Roman Empire that we have is just being a girl in today's day and age. Like something will come up and it's just, whether it's in a dating submission, in just friendships, whatever it is, that is obviously the topic of this entire podcast. So just being a girly today.
For sure. I think one of yours is David Goggins for sure.
I was going to say that. I feel like that was a little more recent.
It is recent.
Yeah. But I will never forget him. And he honestly might never forget me. So
true. You guys have a lasting bond at this point. You have an actual personal connection now. Yeah. There are too many to choose from. I'm sure if I went back and started watching episodes, I'd be like, oh, and this, and this, and this. But again, circling back to the whole podcast point, like you said, it's just being a girl. And that's what we do. And that's why you listen to the podcast. I personally could also listen to it. Like, I don't get sick of it. I'm like, someone could talk about the same thing over and over from slightly different angles. It's like when you read a book, hearkening back to the scriptures. They say you read the scriptures, you can read it countless times. You'll get something new every single time. That's how I feel about gossip, honestly. It's like, you tell me a story from a different angle every time. I will get a new takeaway every time,
100%.
Depending on the place of life I'm in, depending on my current mood, and depending on the details you have now provided me with. Now I have a different takeaway.
Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing.
That's the beauty of literature.
So true.
And this is literature.
Of
in
course.
A sense.
In a sense. Okay.
Not a sense of the word, but in a sense.
An inside joke only our real ones will get.
What did I even say for this? Let me see.
I had
a
quote from Nick Curtis himself. Nice cake.
Oh, yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, I was trying to think back.
You guys both have nice cake.
You both have
nice
cake.
Both have nice cake.
Cakes.
It's crazy.
Cakes. So funny. So polite. Like that is just so.
I don't even remember how we got there. Also, like where did the conversation
trying to be polite
even lead
and
us?
Being inappropriate? You both have.
You guys both have
great. No, I think you said you both have great cakes. Like let's not mince words. You both have nice. I need to listen to that back.
Same.
We were dying laughing. I forgot about that. I need to think like pre-2022, 2023.
Yeah, it's honestly hard to go back that far. And since we don't, I just talked about the digital footprint and how you got to be comfortable with yourself and blah, blah, blah. I'm not listening back.
Yeah, no.
You will not catch me
listening
back.
Many hours.
I'm saying like I'm not even going to go and like, oh, let me listen to the first episode. No. I can maybe do that now. I don't think I'd be like triggered. It just cringes me. I'm just like, oof, okay. Because the other thing is that
even the tone of our voices.
You don't realize, oh, I was Mickey Mouse. Tell me how my voice was 10 octaves higher like 7 years ago.
No, I was watching an old video and Case was with me and he goes, Mom, why are you talking funny? Because my voice is like, and so then it was like me doing literally probably 7 years ago, a video of something explaining it like vlog style. And he was like, why are you talking funny? Like, that is a great question. Because Mommy was being fake.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like you're less comfortable,
Mommy was uncomfortable
on camera,
in her skin.
or if it literally is an age thing. We've talked about this before too, but truly, I will look back at videos and I'm like, my voice is so high. So I know going back to the first episode of the podcast, I will just
Mickey
be
Mouse.
like cringing at, hey guys, welcome back to, it's like, I don't know if it's fake.
so excited
Yeah.
to be here.
Also, just the course of this podcast has changed so much. The fact that we thought we were really going to be like, you know, health and wellness business gurus with a hint of, well, actually, our podcast started on what we're doing.
Yeah.
That was the original idea, but we were like, oh,
We
we'll
lost
also
ourselves.
Yes, exactly. And we're like, we'll also do interviews with like experts and stuff. And then we came back home because, Mama, why are you doing an interview with a dentist? Why? Why are we learning
But you know
the
what?
ins and outs?
I learned a lot in those episodes.
I did too.
It's nice to interview an expert from, you know, the mind of a child.
Yeah. From the mind of an imbecile. That's always fun. But it is just
He's on Zoom with us probably like, for what? Who put me up to this?
he honestly ate with
No,
everything
he
he
ate.
said.
I still use Limino to this day.
Oh, amazing brand. Truly incredible, but
It's
we
so
just
funny.
didn't. That's not what we said's core values.
No.
We lost ourselves along the way, but we came back home.
Yes.
I want to go back because I think we did this last year, maybe. I found like the original text thread of when we started the podcast of like, we should start a podcast, you know, like whatever. We're so funny. It could be so good, whatever.
Yeah.
The conversation. And then one of the texts was something about like, we were using My Favorite Murder as as inspo basically. And we were like, we could kind of do it like they do where they get people to write in stuff, but instead it can be like embarrassing stories and like funny things for us to react to. That was the original concept,
Yes.
which is what it is. It's funny that that was the concept, and then we tried to pepper in these other things, but then we
Yes.
came back to it. Even 7 years later, that's kind of
The meat
the
and
point of it.
potatoes that
Yeah.
we got to stick with.
I need to go back and like search. I do not delete my text messages ever. Like I haven't
Wow.
deleted my text messages in 10 years.
Really?
No. But I don't know if my phone would even have the bandwidth. Like I'm not
To go all
scrolling
the way
10
back?
years.
No,
I don't even
yeah.
think that's possible.
No, probably not.
But I wonder if I could like search a keyword and then I could kind of find the conversation or something.
True.
Because
That would be hard.
I think that we did that at one point, but it's been a minute. I might have a screenshot of something.
Well, mine, it kind of goes off of how, you know, the progression of our podcast and my favorite inside joke. Wait, what's the thing?
Yeah.
Favorite inside joke?
that the real ones will get.
Yes, Skimsgate.
Yeah.
That word will not make sense to you unless you've been here and you've been through it with us. I won't say through the mud, but not the right term to use in terms of Skimsgate.
Yeah. Skimsgate 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah, both of our Skimsgate.
Yeah. Do we need to, should we explain further or no?
I mean, all you have to know it has to do with Skims pajamas and usually us being unwell in some way and our bowels not
Cooperating. Yeah.
And you can put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah,
You had to
for
be
sure.
there.
You did
It's
have
really
to
not
be there.
something I choose. I've thought about that recently where I'm like, so one day my sons will be in junior high. And heaven forbid, one of them is like, plays at recess and they're like, is this your mom? And I'm like, I pooped my pants. And that's when I will be like, I'm so sorry. I'll bring you and all of your friends to Chuck E. Cheese.
It is concerning.
They're like,
Does
we
Chuck E.
don't want
Cheese still
you.
exist?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a minute. Do you know what? I think it's called Chuck E. Cheese's. That's like a no.
For what?
No, I'm saying that's like a Berenstain Bears thing where it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not.
Chuck
Is
E.
it?
Cheese's.
Or am I wrong?
Wait, what did we say?
No,
Chuck E.
Chuck E.
Cheese?
Cheese. I never would call it anything but that.
Chuck E. Cheese's.
Let me see. Chuck E. Cheese.
Cheese.
No, I think I'm wrong. It's Chuck E. Cheese. But you know how there's certain things.
Yeah,
that,
like the Berenstain Bears. Mandela effect.
Not even Mandela effect. Like, well, I guess it is kind of Mandela effect. Just certain restaurants that are commonly like mispronounced or something.
Yeah.
It's like
Joanne's.
I've never heard anyone. Is it Joanne?
Wait, look it up.
Oh, Joanne's. Aren't they going out of business?
Yeah.
I don't.
Rip.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh, it's Joanne.com.
Yeah. Joanne.
Joanne Fabrics and Crafts?
Yeah.
Fabric and Crafts. Wait, I'm actually mind blown at Joanne.
Joanne.
Stuff like that, you know? I don't know where I got the idea that it was Chuck E. Cheese's because that does not sound right in any capacity. But I think that's why I thought it was. Mm-hmm. I have not been to a Chuck E. Cheese. I have not stepped foot in one of those in 15 years.
No.
Kind of seems like it could be a vibe. But you know what? Now I'm
You're into animatronics.
I'm so much more of a germaphobe now than I used to be.
Yeah, those kids' playgrounds,
I'm just like,
especially indoor ones, something's off.
It's 1,000 kids who knows what, little ailments they've had and little colds and just like, it's because they're so, kids are just careless and germy and messy. But maybe it's now that I have a kid, I'm just like, oof, I don't want to
get sick.
Yeah, get sick. But I'll see those places and I'm just like, that's what I see. When I see a kid's playground, all I see is like the germs. I literally see it covered in green. That's how I'm looking at it. Yeah. Okay, should we answer a listener question that we've never answered before?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're flying through these.
I know we are.
Wait, one other inside joke really fast is the original Valley Girl, why we call ourselves Valley Girls. Because, if you're new here, you might not know that we got it from it was a review, right? Mm-hmm. That said that we are Vapid Valley Girls. And we were like, oh, and that we are.
Yes. Yes, you ate. And also, it was such a cute word. Like, Vapid Valley Girl, we were like, that is actually so cute. Mm-hmm. Like,
put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, put that on a tee. And I love being called a Valley Girl. And I love, I think it is so it's the epitome of who we truly are because we're from the Valley. And yes, we do have Valley Girl accents. Although I will hear some people with Valley Girl accents, like where I can determine like, okay, they have a Valley Girl accent. And I do feel like ours are so mild. And maybe maybe that's just a very biased perspective because I am myself. But I will hear some Valley Girl accents. I'm like, that is an intense Valley Girl accent. Not that I care. Go off. I love a Valley Girl. But I don't feel like ours are so intense, but maybe they are to people who don't live, where we grew up or just, I don't know, on the West Coast. Maybe we really do have strong accents to people. Or, I'm sure we say certain words, but
is a Valley accent, like a Valley Girl accent, just West Coast?
I don't know. Let's look up the actual definition.
Because is that just like a California accent? Or I don't think, because I know Utah people speak a little differently than Arizona people.
For sure.
Arizonians.
It said it's associated with teenage girls from the San Fernando Valley region of Los Angeles, often characterized by high-pitched, exaggerated, and melodic tone with specific speech patterns, laid-back, youthful, and sometimes airheaded persona. It's uptalk, which I do think we have that a little bit. Frequent use of filler words like totally, literally. So, we fully have this.
So we are.
Drawn out vowels and nasal tone, vocal fry.
I have that. Check.
And exaggerated emphasis.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So, we have actually every single characteristic, and
that's just how we talk.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We can't really get a new accent.
No, and that's why we need to.
What accent should we have? That's what I would like to ask.
That's why we need to read the book Word Slut so we can reclaim our accent.
True.
That was a good one though. Thank you for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you look at all the questions people were?
Yeah.
Asking.
Yeah.
People were wanting the tea.
Yeah, they were wanting.
And there were. Well, I'm curious which one you chose before you answer it.
You want me to tell you what I chose?
Just me.
I'm like, I'm gonna answer if I've drank alcohol before.
Okay.
That's the one I chose.
Okay. Well, maybe just get into it then, I guess.
Okay. I'm like, and I will edge you now for the next 10 minutes.
Because there were so many that were, one-off ones, but I felt like there are some we just couldn't avoid.
Yeah. Well,
at least for me, I saw one that was
the number
50 different variations of my name spelling with the same question.
It makes me so irrationally upset when people spell your name wrong. I don't know why your name specifically. Yeah. I'm saying, because sometimes people will spell my name wrong too. Like, because it's JC Marie, they'll do IE, like for my first name, because I think they mix it up with Marie. I honestly don't care. When people spell your name with an A at the end, it irrationally makes me so mad because I'm like,
the A doesn't bother me as much anymore because I'm just so used to it because it's like the most common. It's when people get really creative and really original. I'm like, I've never even seen that spelling before. That makes less sense than how you
what,
actually.
an IE or something?
Yes, an IE or even just an I. And I'm like, okay.
I don't know
Slay.
why that's a trigger for me.
Yeah, appreciate your protection over me.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about the first time I tried alcohol.
I'm so excited for the story.
I've never talked about this. I realized I actually thought maybe I had mentioned here and there.
I know I thought you
hadn't
had.
like told the story, not, but I was like, I feel like I've mentioned maybe that I've tried it. I had a TikTok where my friend had like a tequila something, and I was like, my first sip of alcohol as a 20, whatever I was at the time, 27-year-old or something. And I like literally took a sip. It was basically water because it was like in ice, I think. So let's not count that, okay? Because that was basically nothing. Let's rewind, okay? Snuggle up for a story time. Alcohol has been so demonized my entire life. Like, I thought that I was scared of alcohol. I never wanted to try it. In high school, it was not even a remote temptation to me. Like, I wasn't someone who was like, oh, I wish I could try alcohol or drink or party, but I just can't. Like, that was not genuinely, I couldn't care less. It was not something that I thought about or cared about one bit. Because
Not even like presented in your path.
No, not even like none of my friends drank. I was friends with so many Mormons. Like, it just was not in my ether at all. Never considered it. In college, never considered it. Like, just truly wasn't around people who drank alcohol, was scared of it. Even if I was presented in any way, I would like run in the opposite direction. It like scared me because I was so unfamiliar with it. It was also so demonized. Like, I was taught that it was so bad to drink alcohol that, if you're going to drink alcohol, you are starting to go down a really bad path. And, oh, look at this person. They started drinking and now A, B, and C has happened to them and they became a drug addict. And now they're like, it just, in my head, it was such a big deal. It was a very scary thing. And I never thought I would drink in my entire lifetime. Like, just thought that I would never even take a sip. So let's start with that context. When Leif and I got married, we were very much on the same page about that. Like, neither of us were even remotely interested in it. We were just like, oh yeah, that's not something that we're ever going to do. Like, I mean, granted, we were also in the church at that point. And as I was just getting older in like my earlier 20s, going to work events and things like where it would just be, it was more presented to me, I guess. And I still had zero interest in it, and I was still almost like triggered and scared by it. So I'd be at some sort of event and they'd be like, oh, do you like some champagne? And I would like kind of have like this feeling of like, oh, like definitely not, number one. But number two, I kind of feel awkward because I feel like everyone else is taking it. And like, I'm, at this point 24 or something. So it's like, then people are going to start asking me, oh, do you not drink? And then I have to get into just like, oh, and it was a big deal to me in my head, even though I could have just said, no, I just don't drink, or I've never tried it, or I don't want to. I felt like I couldn't even explain the reason I didn't drink because it was just because I was Mormon. Like, that's why I didn't drink. And also I didn't have interest in it, but like, it just felt like this big thing that was like scary to me. Okay. So that's how I always felt about alcohol. And once I started kind of deconstructing the church and just like my belief system, still didn't think I was going to drink. Wasn't interested in it. It took me like maybe 2 or 3 years after I had started the deconstruction process when I was really just looking at all my belief systems and being like, I've said my whole life, like, no, I'll never drink. Is that just because people told me to say that? Is that because people told me to think that? Or is that because I actually feel that way? And so I really started like diving into that, and Leif and I both did. And basically we had this trip to Italy booked. We were going to Europe, and we both started talking about it. At this point, we were just much more open about everything, because we had deconstructed church stuff. We were no longer going, and none of that had like a hold on us anymore. So we didn't care to follow any of the guidelines for any other reason other than if we wanted to, And
You're saying you're open with each other, or you're saying open in general?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both. I mean, we're always open with each other, always. But I mean, like in that way. But I think we're also more open-minded, where we just like, once you deconstruct certain belief systems and you realize that those things were demonized to you growing up, but you don't actually think that anymore, it loses all its weight. So like, alcohol I no longer looked at something as like scary and crazy. I was just like, oh, I can like see it more clearly now as that was just something that I was taught to believe. And I don't actually think that anymore. Like I have seen evidence of also people in my life who drink very casually, like just socially, and their lives have not been altered in any way by alcohol. So it's like, I was just, putting all these pieces together and being like, I don't actually feel that way. That's just how I was brought up. And for the first time, both of us were more open to like, maybe it would be fun to try alcohol. Like we've never tried it. We don't even know what it tastes like. We have no idea what it feels like. And it could just be a fun thing. And it's just, it's not scary to us anymore. So we were like, we should try when we go to Europe because we're going there in a month or whatever it was. And that if we were ever going to try alcohol, that seems like a fun, like first experience. So we were going with Beth and James, and also alcohol has never been something that they have a hang up with or anything. It's just like always been a fun, casual part of their life. You know what I mean? So we were like, they would be the perfect people to also try alcohol for the first time with. Wow. I feel like I've said the word alcohol actually 6,000 times. Anywho, so it's funny because we didn't tell them before. We just like once we arrived there, we were in Italy and we like met up with them and we were going to our Airbnb or whatever. And I was like, we might try alcohol on this trip. And they're both like, sorry, like absolutely shocked because that's just not something that was ever on the table for us. Like I had probably told Beth like, oh, I'm never going to drink. Like, I'd probably been very definitive about it in the past. So she was like, really? Okay. And I was like, yeah, like when in Italy. And they were like, okay, cool. And so we like went to lunch on one of the days, I think like the next day after we were all settled and everything. And I tried an Aperol Spritz. That was my first drink. Okay. It tasted like gasoline, but it was such a fun experience. The view was so unbelievably amazing. We're like, so good. This is delicious. I love alcohol. We were in the most amazing place. We were with people we love. We were eating just like the best food. We were eating pasta. And it honestly was such a healing experience to do that because I also was probably insufferable to Beth. I would ask her. She was also pregnant at the time, so she wasn't drinking.
She's like, great.
So she was our chaperone. But that's kind of why I felt like the situation, I felt safe because I felt safe around them in general. I had no idea what to expect. Like I genuinely didn't know if like I'm going to take 2 sips of this and be like, I don't know my tolerance. I don't know how alcohol affects your system, how quickly it hits. I knew nothing about alcohol, okay? So I was just like, I want to be in a safe environment. She's pregnant, so she can't even drink. I felt like, okay, she's my chaperone. Like, even though I definitely didn't even need to be scared because what I learned is after one drink, you barely even feel anything. And so, anyway, it was just a very fun healing experience because I realized in that moment that like, number one, the belief systems that I had been brought up with like didn't have a hold over me because I felt no guilt doing it because I knew it wasn't an actually immoral bad thing. It was just like something I was choosing to do in that moment. And I also realized for me, this is my experience, that it wasn't a big deal. Like it was not a big deal to have one drink. It didn't make me drunk even. It was like a fun experience and it just like opened up my world, I feel like, and my life to be like, this is my own life and I do make my own choices and I can also trust myself and I know that I'm not being crazy and trying to be like, that's how it was.
Self-control.
Yes, that's how it was always like presented to me. It's like, oh, slippery slope. Like once you have one drink, then you're just gonna keep going crazy. And it's like been so refreshing to know that now I've tried alcohol and I have my own like thoughts and relationship with it and it's my own. And I know that like I can completely control what I want to do. If I do want to drink, if I don't want to drink, that's like completely on my own terms and it's not a big deal to me. And it's not something that, oh, once I drink alcohol, now I'm obsessed with it and now that's my whole lifestyle. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it was very refreshing to realize that that can be a very casual and social part of my life if I choose for it to be, or it can be not a part of my life at all. And that's just like solely up to me. And it was just fun to like let go and have that experience. And it was with the perfect people in the perfect place. And I was just like so happy with that whole experience. And I was going to say I had no shame over it. I don't know if I would say I had shame. Definitely no guilt. Like I knew that it wasn't a bad thing, but it's also not like I was like, gonna post on my Instagram and be like, just drink alcohol, because I'm like, I'm still I'm not gonna, I know that can be shocking information to like some of my family members who are very much against alcohol and who have never had a sip of it. Like it's not like I want to shout it from the rooftops, but I feel like when you do grow up so repressed in that way and like, for lack of a better term, like controlled in that way, it's sometimes very hard to make decisions like that because you feel like you are doing something bad, even though you know you're not, but your body and your brain still kind of revert back to like how you've been brought up for the past 25 years. Like that doesn't just go away. And so I think like that's why even telling this story to people who didn't grow up that way, they're like, okay, you had an Aperol Spritz, like congratulations. It just doesn't seem like a big deal. But I think when you are like breaking so many different like just thought patterns and belief systems, and that that's not information that your family would be, you know what I mean? Just
thrilled about.
It's a little more complicated than that. And that's why I haven't like talked publicly about all of that on social media. But as we've discussed, once I turned 30, I was like, I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm 30. I have to remember that I am an adult. And I feel like part of my healing process also is being open about things, because it like I'm not a kid anymore. Well, and I'm allowed to have my own experiences, and I shouldn't like something
and take
that
ownership of my own journey and my own life and my own guidance. It's like, that's even kind of what you were saying. It's like you have to show yourself almost when you grow up that way that you have guidance within yourself, that it's like, okay, I can make my own decisions and I don't have to look externally for guidance on what I should do. Like I need to listen to myself.
Exactly. And that my intuition like won't lead me astray, and I need to listen to that. And again, it doesn't matter what the perception is of different people or the judgment or whatever.
And that you have control. Like it's not just like, oh, I did this once, now I'm on the,
the slippery slope, as they say.
Exactly. It's like I have control over my fate, over my destiny. Like I can choose my next action. I don't have to be like, well, I did this, so now I'm screwed, or even vice versa.
Yeah. I am currently wearing actually head to toe Skims at the moment. My full outfit is Skims, but also under my clothing, my underwear is Skims, as it is every single day of my life, specifically the Fits Everybody collection. I will just swear by this forever. I love, love, love Skims underwear and their bras. Their Fits Everybody collection is truly like nothing I've ever tried before. It feels like you're not wearing anything. I don't have to think about the fact that I'm wearing underwear or a bra when I'm wearing Skims, which to me is the best feeling. There is nothing worse than having to like tug on your underwear. It's getting stuck in places. Your bra is bothering you and you have to keep adjusting. Like I like to just forget that I'm even wearing underwear, and that's how it feels wearing the Skims Fits Everybody collection. I wear their thongs every day. I have many of their different styles of bras, and I love each and every one of them.
I also am wearing a Skims thong right now. I love their Fits Everybody thongs so much. I have loved them for years, and that says something. I keep adding to my collection of thongs and underwear. If you open my underwear drawer, it's all Skims, especially the Fits Everybody collection, because it's just so soft. It goes under every shirt, every pair of pants so seamlessly, and is so comfortable. I also have to say the triangle bralette in the Fits Everybody collection is my favorite product. I love a triangle bralette under a t-shirt because it kind of holds the girls up, especially post breastfeeding. Those ladies need a little extra help, a little extra push. And it does it without feeling too claustrophobic. And it's the best for amazing support and lift, but not suffocating at all. So you can shop Skims Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you select podcast in the survey, and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. We're going to jump into an ad to talk about Rocket Money. I love Rocket Money, you guys. It has become my best friend, one of my favorite apps that I use all the time, because something about me, I have struggled in the past with, it's out of sight, out of mind. And that applied to my bank account as well, with sometimes little spending habits here and there. Your daily coffee habit, or maybe a streaming subscription, something you signed up for once, thought you're going to use and never did again. they can add up so fast without you even noticing if you're not checking things. So Rocket Money helps you spot those patterns so that you can do something about them and keep more money in your pocket. It's so nice. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place and you can know exactly where your money's going. You can see if one of them's coming up so you can be a little more prepared, or ones that you don't want anymore. Rocket Money can also help you cancel them.
Their dashboard also gives you such a clear view of your expenses across all your accounts, so you can just easily see where your money is going. It's right in front of you, which is super important. You can also easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to help you keep your spending on track. You can see your monthly spending trends in each category too, so you also know exactly how much money you spent that month and where it went. And if there are certain trends over time, or like, okay, I've spent more on clothes this month, maybe I can cut back there, things like that. You can also get alerts if bills increase in price or if there's unusual spending activity, if you're close to going over budget. They also have a new goals feature, which automatically saves money for you, so you don't even have to think about it, which can help you, put away money for a house or for a car, or just build your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, what we said in the survey, so they know that we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to undo. And again, I don't expect everyone to understand that or understand that that was like a big deal for me. But I've had friends who, not even who have grown up Mormon, but who have grown up religious and like highly religious and the whole, like no alcohol, no drinking, that type of energy. And they've kind of shared that same sentiment that it's like they felt like drinking alcohol for the first time was like such a healing thing for them because they realized that they were living their own life and that the world didn't combust when they had a shot.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. And they still have complete autonomy and control over their life, and their life is still going great.
Yeah.
Nothing, so
it's scary to take the first step.
Yeah. So that's the story.
Wow.
If you were curious.
Proud of you for sharing.
Thank you.
I really thought that you had shared, but maybe just to me. I get confused of what's on the podcast and what's in.
What's in real life. I know. Same.
Not that it isn't real life, but yeah, that is so funny. I didn't realize that Beth was pregnant.
Yep.
I've been waiting for years. Yeah. You're like, the day she gets pregnant, you're like, I'm ready.
I know.
She's like, great.
But she was like, no, this is good. Because and I was like, I do think it's good too, because again, I was so unaware of how it would affect people. But I'm like, good. I don't want us all what? Yeah. Are we all gonna have one drink and be stumbling down the stairs of Italy? I didn't know how it worked.
I think it is good to, again, like you were saying, not that you need something like that every time, but I do think it's good to have somebody, whatever it is, if you're trying something new that can be in certain circumstances dangerous, it is good to have someone who knows, because even if you didn't know, I don't feel anything after one, maybe I should just keep taking it until I, right. It's you want someone to kind of guide you through it.
Exactly. It'd be oh, it might kick in 10 minutes, or if you drink it, but whatever. They had all these little things, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that is probably the best case scenario to feel comfortable.
I think so too.
Something that you're not unsure about.
Yes. It was a super fun, great experience that I love. And that trip in general was one of my favorite trips in my whole life. And I think that was a big part of it. It's just not even because of the drinking.
Just freeing.
Because I realized that, I was just living my life.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really good feeling.
Nice.
And surreal. Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm like, and so, you know what's been in my cup this whole time?
It's a picture of matcha on the outside.
A flask. I'm like, cheers, ladies. No, it's a very watered down matcha at this point. Let's hear your.
Let's hear mine.
Yes.
I really didn't understand until I saw the question box. I didn't know where I was going to go with this question before the question box. And then everybody's response, it was glaringly obvious of what I haven't talked about, which to me, again, I have conversations in my own head all the time. I know I talk so much.
I talk so much to the voices in my head.
Yeah. I'm me and all my friends in my head talk about this all the time. But I talk to YouTube. I don't know. I write on my stories all the time. I don't know exactly what I talk about and what I don't sometimes, or to what extent. I can't remember. So I know that like the number one question was like, Chelsea doesn't talk about her like religion. Is she Mormon? Is she LDS? Is Chelsea not? Like people are like, wait, was she never LDS? Like
The status.
it was becoming clear that it's very mysterious.
Ambiguous.
And part of me, the Enneagram 4 in me that likes mysterious, is like, maybe we just keep guessing. But also, again, being 30, I feel the exact same way. Like literally the day I turned 30, I heard someone talking about how it was a comedian. She's like, 28 is older than 30. Because when you're 28, like 30 is staring you in the face and you're like, I got to get my life together. I got to get this. Like I've got to get a house. I have to like get everything together. Then you turn 30 and you realize what being an adult actually is. And you're like, wait, I can chill. I can chill. I can be whoever I want to be. I don't have to have it all figured out. And it's just the best feeling. Truly, the day I turned 30. Like, it's so weird. But so I just haven't talked about it because for a multitude of reasons. But the main reason to me that like inside, I don't even consciously not talk about it, but subconsciously is because I feel like I've always been a very spiritual person. I feel like I've always been very in tune with spiritual things. And they've always kind of come to me in different ways. Like I'll be super into something for a while because it speaks to me like, what was that thing a while ago? Human design?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like even
astrology.
Zodiac signs.
Yeah.
Yes, where I'm just like, oh, this interests me and I like to talk about this and it resonates with me because I feel like I'm a very spiritual, free-spirited, like just love those cosmic things. Mm-hmm. And I've felt like that ever since I was really little. Sometimes, I kind of talked about this in my 30th, what I've learned in my 30 years, but I feel like even more so when I was little. Maybe in my teenage years, early 20s, not so much, but I kind of have been coming home to her, as we were saying. Mm-hmm. And so after I had Case, I really had to think about my stance with my own religion, like being Mormon. I was just like, okay, wait, I have to like actually think about this because now I have kids. So it's not just like, oh, I can be loosey-goosey. And like there were certain rules that I never thought twice about. Like when I started drinking coffee, I was just like, oh, because you're not supposed to drink coffee if you didn't know, if you're Mormon. And when I started drinking coffee, I just kind of like started drinking coffee. I just didn't think twice about it. Stopped wearing my garments, didn't really think twice about it. It was just like, oh, wasn't hiding it, wasn't whatever. Mm-hmm. But I never thought about like my label as a Mormon. I was just like, oh, I can be Mormon and like do these things. I can be in and out and pick and choose. What do they call it?
Buffet Mormon.
Buffet Mormon. Mm-hmm. And then after I had Case, like the spirituality of the religion, like the organized religion, and I had to think of like where that met my spirituality and like where my soul actually felt like it was aligning. Mm-hmm. And it was feeling rocky. It was feeling very confusing more so than anything else. So that's why I never really talked about it. This was like a couple years ago that I feel like I really started deconstructing and like it was confusing for me. I didn't have anything to say. I feel like words don't really, my spirituality is not something I can even put in words sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's like I can't adequately describe how I feel sometimes about the universe or like about God or about the name or just like my theories or my own philosophies. And like I'll read books or like look into certain things and I'm like, oh, I agree with that or I, think this way. But it's not something I feel comfortable like preaching in any way. So I always feel like if I'm not ready to like talk about it and be super like, okay, these are the words that I feel like really adequately describe how I feel or what I believe, then I hesitate. I know that might be shocking. I'm like, I really think about what I want to say. But when it's something as personal as spirituality, to me, that can be so, I don't know, again, just it's confusing to me sometimes and I'm just going with the flow. Like I saw Haley from Girls Camp post like someone had asked about what her husband thought. He's like, what's your husband's stance on spirituality? He's like, I don't know. Yeah. And I'm like, no, same. Like that is how I've always thought. So I don't really have anything to say. Like I don't have.
And nor should you. Like you're not expected to bare your soul about your spirituality if you also aren't really, you don't even have words to necessarily describe what it is or to define it.
Because
that's not really something that you need to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And I feel like the times that I have been so like I was saying, let me go back to right after I had Case, like I was really thinking about like, okay, what does it mean to be Mormon? Like, what does it mean? Like, what's okay for me to be? And then thinking, okay, what's the next layer of like, why am I thinking of what is it okay to be? Like, this is my thing. Like, I'm the only thing I have.
Yeah.
So why am I even thinking like, what's okay to be? What do other people want me to be? And then thinking even more so like just about my childhood. What do I want for my kids? Like, how do I bring that to my kids' childhood? The good, the bad, everything. I'm not even saying necessarily my childhood in the church either, just in general. Like you think of so much. So it was just so much all at once. Like I'm thinking, I'm like 25 or 26 when I had him. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm coming into my return to Saturn and I am thinking about everything. It's a little too much for me to now like bring my stance on everything to the internet and then have a discussion. I'm not really ready to like put it out there and then because I'm aware that when you put things out on the internet, it's open for discussion. So I'm just like, I'm not really there yet. I don't really feel the need and I'm very confused and I don't want to invite any kind of discussion. I need to figure this out for myself. So I took a step back from everything. Like I didn't want to talk about on social media. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to like have any of that. I just wanted myself to have some time to just be like, okay, I need to take a break. I need to take a breather. I need to not try and define anything too quickly. Cause I think I try to do that with myself sometimes. I just want to define it so quick. And so I had to really take a break, take a pause, think about it, reflect on it. And I realized that is a very long process and very painful because you have to really, again, this is just my experience, take things step by step. Like something will come up every so often and I have to either unlearn that, learn something, like something new about it where that's what even stops me now sometimes. Not stops me because I don't even really think to talk about it, but it's just a constant process and a constant learning and a constant thing that I know I will never be like just in one spot. So, you know, I have so many other thoughts about different topics that I feel like my whole life is spiritual. Like that is one of my spiritual feelings and like beliefs and philosophies is like everything to me is spiritual. I obviously cry all the time because I just feel like I feel things so deeply and I just feel like, see, why am I crying about this? I mean, like, literally, this is how I feel like, you know, riding horses or like doing things in nature. Like, that is spirituality to me. That is like how I feel like connected to God, the universe, like whatever name you want to put to it. And like, I don't have a specific name that I put to it, and that is what I go off of. So that's why I can't really like come on here and ever be like, so this is my religion. Because I don't really jive with organized religion in general. So if you wanted me to be as black and white as possible for, you know, to put me in whatever box you want to put me in your brain, it's like, I don't consider myself Mormon. If I go to church for like a holiday or anything like that, like I'll go to a Mormon church because that's where my family goes. That's where my family is. So I'll go with them. That's what I want in that situation. Like I want to be with my family. But I'm also not like, which organized religion is right for me? Like that is not where I am. That's not really where I've ever been. So I'm always like on a pursuit of connecting with my soul, and like as cheesy and like cliche as that sounds, it's just like what makes me feel. I think I was saying this on a previous episode too, like my purpose, like leaving this earth more beautiful than I found it. And whatever that means, like experiences with people, connections, like being there for people, making people, you know, feel connected to nature as well, or connected to the universe, or like laughing with people, just like making jokes and just like experiencing this life to its fullest in whatever way comes, like whatever comes my way, I guess, and whatever's presented to me. I'm just like floating down the river. I'm just chilling, and I'm just, you know, I don't really have an answer besides that. I don't even know if that answered anything, but
no, I think it does. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, I relate to it. It's very hard to definitively just put yourself in a box, especially on the internet, because it lives forever. So you never want to be like, this is how I feel very strongly. And then, you know, 2 years later, you're like, well, I kind of have shifted from that perspective. I mean, I think that's very normal and people need to understand nuance and, you know, just the complexity that comes like from that. But I don't know. I just always go back to like, if you haven't experienced growing up like this, I just think it's very hard to understand like
the
complexity of it. And just how you said it's like a very long and it can be very painful because you are just, it is your whole foundation. And in a lot of times that is where you find comfort, is like your religion. Like that's where you've been taught to find peace and comfort. And so to walk away from that feels very scary because you feel like, well, now where am I finding that peace and comfort? And now, you know, I'm not making my family and my friends who are Mormon happy. And like, this is my whole foundation. So it's just, I feel like maybe I say that, maybe that's my other Roman Empire, is like talking about that too much, but I just feel like it's so hard to explain in words how difficult it can be to like how it just feels like your life is turning upside down to just unlearn things that you have learned, have been drilled into your head since you were born.
Yeah, I know. It's so, and I think the other thing is it's so incredibly, this is my philosophy about spirituality in general. It should be this way. Like it's so different for everybody, and everybody comes into their own spiritual journey in different ways at different times in their life. Some people do it super young. Some people do it super old. Some people are like super steadfast their entire life. Like it's so different for everybody with their personality. And so it's also sometimes hard to talk about if you don't, because you know it's so different. And like you're like, this is my very unique experience. I don't expect people to necessarily relate to it. Maybe they can, but also I think even when I was going through the thick of like, oh, I actually have to think about this. Like I actually have to consider where I stand with my church. Like I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't know. And then once I got out of it, well, not that you're ever necessarily out of it, but once I was like really, I can say I don't think about it that often until like something will randomly come up about it, but I'm not thinking about it like day to day. Yeah. As maybe I once was. So then I'm not even thinking to talk about it until, you know, something comes up. But again, it's just, you know, something that is very personal and very hard to put into words.
For sure.
And especially when I feel as though growing up, this is kind of what I was saying at the beginning, is like I feel like I've always felt the same. Like my soul has always been the same. Like I don't feel being in or out of the church like I'm different. So then it feels weird to be like, I'm different now. Like you know, it's like, well, I don't want you to think any differently of me because I'm the same person. Like I think the same thing. Like I have different rules now than I did then, or lack of, you know, like there are different things about me, but how I feel personally is like, I feel like I'm back to the little girl that I once was. So then I'm like feeling the same, but not. I don't know. There's just so many little different things about it that it's just personal to me, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's true. It's like you feel, again, it sounds so cheesy, but like you feel like you're coming home to yourself, and you feel like you are, that's how I feel lately, is that I'm the most me I've ever been now. Like, you know, I have my days, whatever, where I'm feeling rocky about certain things, but like when I really get quiet with myself, I'm like, I know who I am. Like I know who my soul is. And that's the opposite of what you've been taught growing up, is like, if you were to distance yourself from the church, you wouldn't know who you were anymore, you know? So to have the opposite experience is like very interesting, and it can be a hard thing. It can almost, that aspect of it can even be hard to me, to be like, oh, I'm like so happy and free now. And I actually feel like I just know who I am, but that doesn't align with anything that I grew up, you know, knowing. So then that's almost like a weird thing in and of itself. It's like, oh, how could I possibly be, you know, this myself if I was taught the complete opposite? Yeah. So not that it makes you question like yourself, but it's just an interesting thing to go through.
Yeah.
And I think that you're like completely valid in not talking about something when you're not definitive in the way you feel. Like there's no need. So,
and I feel like I will never, I guess maybe that I'm like, oh, I figured it out. Like I will never be definitive. And that's kind of like where I am in I'm not saying in terms of like where I stand with the church. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like in terms of spirituality.
What you believe.
Yeah. It's like how I feel about things. It just feels like I've just been up to this point 30 years of like moving and flowing and figuring things out on the way. So then it's like I'm learning that it probably will never be definitive. Like
For sure.
how I feel will never be. Oh, I figured out the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
Like I figured out the secret. So it's interesting. I don't know.
I think that's, I feel the same way. I feel like I'll never know. Like I said, the older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything. And so that to me is freeing as well. Like
Yes.
I love not having to be like, these are my beliefs. This
Yeah.
is what I know happens at the end of this.
Yes.
I know we're doing this. I know there's 3 tiers of hell. I'm just like, I like not knowing any of that.
Yeah.
And not pretending like I know any of that and just saying, I'm living life. I'm trying to be the best person I can possibly be. I'm trying to feel aligned. And like, we have gut feelings for a reason. I feel like if you're just following your intuition and like treating people the best way you know how and doing your thing, like that's my belief system at least. I'm like, that's all you can do, and you will just continue to flow through life. And yeah,
Definitely.
it's a long journey. That's for sure. It's lifelong.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions? Was there a last
There
one?
was a what we want for the next 7 years.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, we'll end on this one. A dream for the next 7 years. So something we want to happen in the next 7 years. I am manifesting for us a big opportunity with a big, maybe with a massive check written at $1 million. No, I'm manifesting an opportunity in which a large fashion brand, or I don't care who it is, a media company, I don't know, like flies us out to a big event. I'm just making this up.
Okay.
Like Louis Vuitton.
Sounding great.
Louis Vuitton dresses us and flies us out to Paris to do little interviews at their show. I'm manifesting we get flown out to, or I guess we wouldn't get flown out. We go to the Olympics when they're in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and
you're
we
thinking
get to
big.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving it.
I'm thinking big. What does that sound? I was trying to think of. Dang it. I want
I
something
deleted
big.
TikTok. I don't know.
No, it's
Just
old.
kidding.
I want something big. I want something that says, I'm here. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Something like that though. Us going to the Grammys, the Oscars, doing red carpet interviews. Okay. I'm
would slay.
manifesting something like that in our future because I truly believe we're just getting started. I think that these hoes are not ready for this next chapter.
A wise man once said, and that wise man is Judd Apatow.
They're going to say Joseph Smith. I'm like, wow.
I'm like, and going back, Judd Apatow once said, I took his masterclass, and he was talking about how comedians he was trying to learn from the best of the best comedians, and he was saying their careers, they'll say you have 7 years before you even touch the surface of your career.
I believe
you
that.
need to suffer for 7 years of learning, trying to hone in on your craft before you can consider yourself like just expect it to take 7 years or more time. And when he said that, we're just in such a digital age of quick, people up and down in a month. And that really clicked for me. And we are at our 7-year mark.
Yeah.
And we had been talking about that. We were talking about that exact just kind of sentiment when I heard him say 7 years. And I was like, that just lit a fire in me of like, we have been practicing. We've been honing in our craft. We have time. Mm-hmm. We can take this wherever the hell we want to take it. And we're going to take it to New York Fashion Week.
Yeah. When you were saying that, I'm like, wow, the year that we turned 30 is also our 7-year mark. It feels
So
very,
lucky.
something is feeling very lucky about this whole, just the way that our career is moving. And I feel like sometimes it's easy when you've been doing the same thing for a long time. I think it's easy to get stagnant in what you're doing, in just your routines and the things you talk about in your dynamic. Like it's easy to just be like, oh yeah, we kind of like know the formula that works for us. We're going to do this, this, and this. And I feel like recently, especially because we're both coming out of the postpartum fog and we're getting older and everything, it feels like sometimes I forget there is so much more life to live and there's so much more room to grow in our career. And there's so many more opportunities that are just like probably at our fingertips that we don't even tap into because we're just like comfortable. And so, yeah, I'm so ready. Like I feel like there's something really cool for us in the future that like many things that are cool, but I feel like we will get a very cool opportunity in the realm of what I was just talking about. Maybe it won't be that exactly, but something where we get to like go somewhere as a duo and just be involved with something cool.
I would be so down for something like that, like hosting. Or, I wrote down that my dream for the next 7 years is I hope to, it's similar, but I'm like, make 7 figures. Make something, like create something together that will outlive even the podcast. What that is, I'll leave that, open to the universe to decide. We'll find it. But that will kind of encapsulate and like represent like our dynamic and our magic together. And whatever that may be, that it's like something that will
live on
for
generations to come.
They'll be talking about us in history.
Please. I'm sure they will.
That what we said set. Page 1. What we said Valley Girls.
The up talk. So inspiring. No, I love that.
Nasally voice.
There are so many different ways we can, like when you're talking about that, I want to dive into it more, but maybe we just need to keep it vague.
Off camera.
Yeah, off camera. Yeah, we got to keep some things behind closed doors. One TikTok that outlives. That is
honestly, our dancing videos might outlive.
It's true. That will be written about in history
books.
That
will be 100%. Can you imagine? Like they talk about the pandemic. Okay, 30 years from now, in a history book, talking about the pandemic.
I don't want to know.
Talking about TikTok because that's part of the history. Like it changed history. TikTok. They're like, this is what TikTok started as. It's a screenshot. Us in tie-dye sweatsets, humping the air, censoring our twerking. And our grandchildren
filmed
will be like,
on
that's
a cinema
my grandma.
camera, by the way.
That's
Filmed
my
on a
Mimi.
cinema camera. Took a camera this big out into the middle of the road and was literally doing this. Help.
That's like this dance move where they hit their like
literally us on the road.
Like, what is that dance move signaling? It's so cringe.
We all know what it's signaling.
Love it.
You have to love her, but leave her wild.
Yes.
We have to appreciate ourselves because they got us here. And we love that. Thank you guys for being with us for 7 whole years.
7 lucky years.
What a wild ride. We obviously couldn't do any of this without you guys. You are the reason that we've had any remotely cool experience that we've had has been because of you guys. The reason we were able to have this set created, you guys. Everything at the end of the day comes back to you. So thank you so much, truly, for your support for so long. And we're just getting started. We have so many more fun things up our sleeves coming that we're so excited about. And we just hope you stick around. We love you guys so much. And that's what we said.
Bye.